Yo, what's good, man? Um, the Nbs Show episode number 124. Um, we got the whole panel. We got the whole panel here today, and we got True X the Sports Junkie on the bottom of my screen.
Hey. The newest member of the NBS playoffs as of today. Woo! I'm the 8 seed. Fix your face because that belt is leaving Texas. Texas, my friend. And you know who caused it? The guy that you're looking at. Woo! Hey, I ain't said I'm going to get in the playoffs, but as of today, Truex the Sports Junkies in the playoffs in the NBS League. And it's because I'm on a 4-game winning streak, and I knocked out the guy to the top left. Oh, woo! It feels good for me right now.
And we also got Justin on tonight's show also.
The current MBS reigning
Okay, the
champion.
current
Get that right.
NBS champion.
Hey, enjoy it for the next couple of weeks because that's it after that.
And speaking of seedings, I'm currently the number 4 seed.
Shout out to you, man.
But this is not fantasy football. This is the NBS show, and we're gonna be talking about some college football major news from the coaching carousel. We're gonna pick our game of the week. But we're gonna start things off in the NFL today, and how we normally started off, and that's with our Power Five rankings for this week in the NFL.
Go ahead, Justin. Let me hear this nonsense. So go ahead.
Mine hasn't changed too much. Honestly, at number 5, I have the same team that I had last week. And True, you better start putting some respect on that team's name, because last week you said that they don't belong anywhere near your top 5, and they've done nothing but go on and prove that they are now an elite team in the NFL, and they should be respected as such. They've gone out and blown out who was the number 1 seed in the AFC, no longer, because they got blown out by Bill Belichick and the New England Patriots. Number 5. Number 4, I got who's the number 1 seed right now in the AFC, and that is, although they've been struggling, and like I was speaking with Keo off the air, it's probably the worst performance by a winning quarterback I've ever seen, with 4 interceptions and still won the game. But the Baltimore Ravens still find a way to win games, and they're the number 1 seed in the AFC, and you have to respect them. They're playing great defense, and he's doing enough to win games, Lamar Jackson. So I still have to give him respect. So I got them at number 4. At number 3, I got Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They are the still defending champions, so you have to respect them, and they're getting hot now. They had a great game and won this week, so I got to put them in my top 5. This is where it gets tricky for me. Last week, I had the Arizona Cardinals being my number 1 team. After Aaron Rodgers' performance this week against the Rams, I have to respect that and put Arizona number 2 and Green Bay at number 1. That's how I see it this week.
Woo! I like it. Hey, normally I don't agree with Justin. So we only have one difference of opinion. That's it. Outside of that, me and Justin see it the exact same way. So I'm going to start with number 1. I got the Green Bay Packers at 1. I agree with you. I thought the Rams was I still think they're a Super Bowl contender, but Aaron Rodgers and the Packers, man, they made them look less than a Super Bowl team this past Sunday. I want to give a huge shout out to one of my players on my fantasy team that I'm excited about moving forward, Big A.J. Dillon. Oh, my God. That guy's a beast. They had one play where Aaron Donald tried to wrap him up. Now, we're talking about the defensive player of the year. A lot of people feel like he's the best player in the NFL. Wrapped him up, and he couldn't bring him down. Another guy came, and they couldn't bring him down. They called the little whistle got the play got stopped, but nonetheless, that guy's a beast, and I think he's the future running back of that organization. I know you like Aaron Jones, Justin, but I'm just calling a spade, being honest with you. Number 2, I'm with the Cardinals. The Cardinals, even though they didn't play last week, but they've been dealing with a lot of injuries, and which I saw from the Packers. I have to put the Packers above them as of today, and not to mention the Packers beat them head to head. So in Arizona, so we have to weigh that in at some point. Number 3, I'm with Justin. The Bucks. Tom Brady may be the MVP right now. They're the Super Bowl defending champs, so I can't deny that. Now this is where me and Justin drop off. I agree with you. The Ravens being in the top 5. I actually have them at 5. I have the Ravens at 5. I agree with you. Man, Lamar Jackson cost me one of my playoffs because of that performance. I'm not excited about it. Pissed me off, to be quite frank with you. But at number 4, even though they didn't play, I got the Kansas City Chiefs. I think if they play the New England Patriots or the Ravens in the playoffs right now today on a neutral site, or whether it's at their house or in Kansas City, I would pick Kansas City to win that game. So I have them at 4, followed by the Ravens at 5, and that's my top 5 power rankings.
Number 5 for me, I'm going with the New England Patriots at 5. Nobody expect them to be there, and they've been able to do it. They beat the Tennessee Titans. They didn't just beat them; they beat them very convincingly, and the Titans had no type of chance at all. And Titans, they got a good resume against a lot of teams out there.
That's a fact.
And then number 4, I'm going with the Kansas City Chiefs. I think Kansas City Chiefs, I think they're starting to win at the right time of the season. And I know that, they got the Broncos Sunday night, but the Broncos, they looking pretty good also. So I got them at 4. Number 3, I have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at 3. I think Tampa Bay, they're still going to be in the mix, and they're a very good team. From what from what we were able to see this past weekend. Number 2, I'm also going with the Arizona Cardinals.
Wow.
And number 1, which I was very impressed by what they were able to do, is the Green Bay Packers. Aaron Rodgers, Devontae Adams. They had. I was actually more impressed with their defense. The way they were able to contain Stafford in them. So I definitely have them at number 1. So yeah, those are my Power 5 rankings. I just don't have the Baltimore Ravens. I just can't put them there. They just don't look like a top 5 team to me. If you want to talk about top 5, they are not a top 5 team in the NFL.
Okay, and look, that I can say this about Baltimore. That's fair. My issue with the Patriots is I think it's almost more like shock value. Nobody expected them to be there, and what they're doing is phenomenal. I would not deny that. I didn't expect that at all. But for me, I always go by my rankings is if them 2 teams played, who would I pick to win that game? If Baltimore played New England right now, I would still pick Baltimore to win that game. I know Justin and I'm going to the Super Bowl. I don't agree with that, but Baltimore to me, when the chips are down, I trust them a little bit more than I trust New England, especially in the playoffs. So I could be wrong.
Let's get things straight. I didn't say they were going to the Super Bowl. I said things are stacking up where we could see a Tom Brady, Bill Belichick Super Bowl.
No.
I didn't pick that.
I'm talking about the Ravens. Didn't you pick the Ravens to get to the Super Bowl beforehand?
Yeah, before the season started.
No, I would say that's a great storyline. If the Patriots get there, I'm not a Patriot hater. I'm not even gonna act like I am. I don't hate them. I don't love them, but it's like I'm neutral with it. I just don't think they're hot right now. They're a hot team. Are they a top 5 team in my opinion? No, I don't believe so. Oh God, here we go. Where's my water at, Q? Stop playing with me, man.
All right, so let's go on to our very next topic. We're going to talk about the game that happened last night between the Seattle Seahawks and the Washington football team. Washington ends up winning 17-15. So right now, the way Seattle is struggling is very disappointing. So if we had to put a blame for the Patriot, I mean the Seahawks struggling, who do you guys point this more of the blame to, Pete Carroll or Russell Wilson?
This is a hard one. Um, I think both are really good. I mean, you're talking about elite in their fields. You talk about elite quarterback in Russell Wilson, an elite coach and Pete Carroll. So to put blame on one or the other, I think just the chemistry is just not there right now. And I honestly, um, I would have to put it on Russell Wilson. He just doesn't seem like he has that motivation like he did in the past. They started the season him requesting a trade and having big complaints about personnel and GM and getting him an offensive line and they kept him there, but you never saw Russell Wilson just really embrace coming back. He said he'll come back and he'll continue to play, but I just never seen the will like he used to have. He's not having fun like he used to have in Seattle, and you can tell by his play. Um, are they better off without him? No. Geno Smith is not the guy. I mean, they're not exactly winning with Geno Smith. So, I can't really say, if he's gone, then they're a better team because they're not. But if I were to blame somebody, I mean, I would have to put the blame on the GM because at that point, you created this situation where you have a star quarterback. We know he's the real deal. This is not a one-hit wonder. This guy's been doing it for a long time in Seattle. He's a former MVP. He's a Super Bowl champion. I mean, this guy is the real deal. So he's getting rid of him was not the answer. Getting him help was. Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay, they just got lucky that he continued to play at a high rate after not making him happy. Seattle doesn't have that privilege because Russell Wilson is not performing like he used to. So if you had to put a gun to my head and say between these two guys, who are you blaming? Then I got to blame Russell Wilson.
Yeah, I think it's crazy because me and Justin agreeing with everything. It seems like right now, but if you put me in a position to say who's to blame, I'm going Russell Wilson as well. And I think Seattle Seahawks fans should be careful right now because we already know Russell Wilson asked for a trade at the beginning of the season. And if you sit there and say Pete Carroll is the problem, it's a tough situation now because some good jobs opened up in college football. And I know Notre Dame would love to have Pete Carroll on their sidelines. Oklahoma would love to have Pete Carroll on their sidelines. So be careful what you say about Pete Carroll. It's a tough situation, though. No Chris Carson. Yesterday, they ran the ball for 34 yards, and Russell Wilson was the leading rusher in that game. That's a problem. Russell Wilson, I will say, I know y'all probably saw that play where he tried to force it to DK Metcalf. Now, I get it. DK Metcalf is like a mini Megatron, but he had one catch. There was a play where he tried to force it to DK Metcalf in double coverage, and one of the other receivers was wide open. I mean, wide open over the middle in a crucial situation. And I think Russell Wilson is trying to make the big play, trying to make up for the lack of talent on that team. And he has to take what the defense gives him. But ultimately, I'm going Russell Wilson, man. He has to play better. He's going to have to play at that all-star level. He's going to have to buy in. He's going to have to want to be in Seattle. I'm not sitting and saying, after the season's over, he can't ask for another trade. But right now, they're going to turn this season around, which is not too late because you have teams that's in the playoffs with 6 losses at this moment. It's not too late. It's almost too late, but it's not too late yet. This team, we know they got Russell Wilson, a Super Bowl winning quarterback. We know what DK Metcalf can do. I have to go right now. It's on Russell Wilson. He has to perform at a higher level. I know I'm asking a lot of him, but you were talking about a guy that was a former MVP candidate. in the league for many years, a Super Bowl winning quarterback, and he's just not playing up to that level right now. So I'm going with him over Pete Carroll. And before you say anything, Keo, anybody tuned in, especially Seahawks fans, be careful what you say about Pete Carroll.
Yeah, I wouldn't put I'm not gonna put too much blame on Russell Wilson because he's missed before he got injured, he missed one, two, three, four, about like maybe 5 weeks.
And you're saying he's not healthy.
Yeah, so he just came back, and I think this is his third game back. Third game back, 3 games back, and he has a total of 2 touchdowns. We're talking about 3 games, and that's not Russell Wilson like. That's not elite like. Um, we had a vote. We do our voting every single year before the season starts, and people voted Russell Wilson as a top 5 quarterback by the NBS brand, and that is not top 5. What we see from Russell Wilson, and Justin's right. I agree with him. I think there's no motivation there, man. And when Russell Wilson doesn't get it going, it hurts players like DK Metcalf. At me and True, we had this conversation. He was like, "Hey, DK Metcalf's gonna be like a top 3, top 5 wide receiver." I was like, "Hell no, he ain't," because I knew exactly what defenses were gonna do, and if Russell Wilson don't get it going, guys like DK Metcalf are not going to get it going. Obviously, you can't establish a running game with what you have in there with guys like Alex Collins. That's trying to run the ball for you, so that is not going to work. I think the defense has been decent, but I'm not putting the blame on Wilson. I'm going to put it on Pete Carroll. He's the head coach, man. And, it's all about adjustments. I'm not saying he should go. Hell no, he shouldn't go. He's a good coach, high profile coach, very successful. And he's like I think when it comes to Pete Carroll, he's a type of players coach. Like I think players love Pete Carroll, but I do have to put the blame on Pete Carroll though. He's the head coach. He's the guy that calls the shots, and obviously it's not working out. So I do put the blame on him. I can't put it on Russell Wilson, only 3 games back, but they got to get it going. I don't think it's too late. They still have a shot to make the playoffs, but it's not looking good right now, man.
Hey, Justin, what you shaking your head no for? It's over for him? You're muted right now, I think. Something's going on. We can't hear you.
We can't hear you.
He shook his head no. Hey, Q, watch your mouth about Matthew Stafford. Watch your mouth. They lost the Green Bay.
We still can't hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
You're back.
Yeah, they already have 8 losses. They're not making the playoffs. I mean, they would have to go on a run. That's unheard of, because you have teams that are coming up, and we'll discuss this a little bit later. But there are other teams that people need to be, worried about that are not even in the playoffs right now. So it's not happening.
You get there's an extra team that gets into the playoffs, so and then the way that things are going in this race, I think it's a good shot. Shit, if the Saints could make it, the Seahawks could make it.
Saints ain't making it either.
I agree.
The Saints actually have a better record than the Seahawks. So right, if we're looking
And
at
if they can't make it, then the Seahawks can't make it.
if we're looking at the playoff race right now, the Saints have a really good shot at making to the playoffs.
Because that requires winning some more games.
Based off of what we see in the playoff race right now, it's a good shot. You could say they don't, because that's your
Are they going to
team.
beat your Cowboys this week?
Yeah, they are.
Wow. Wow.
Alvin Kamara's back, man. You better ask him, buddy.
Oh, yeah, I like the way that sounds, though. It sounds good.
Taysom Hill's a starting quarterback. You better ask him, buddy.
You
You
better
have
keep that
two.
same
You have
energy come
two.
Sunday
You
when you're
have
rooting the
those two.
Cowboys on.
Okay, I will. And you have those two dynamics with Kamara and Taysom Hill. Things are gonna be cooking up. Obviously, it's not gonna be Dalvin Cook this week. But let's go
Wow.
to our very next topic
That's
for
dirty.
today.
That's dirty.
All right, let's go to our very next topic for today, and we're gonna be talking about the since Q likes to talk about Stafford so much, we're gonna be talking about Stafford and the Rams. So after the Rams are now on a 3-game losing streak, obviously it's somebody picked them to win the Super Bowl. Um, 3-game losing streak. They lose to the Green Bay Packers. So what's more disappointing, the Rams losing, or were you more impressed by Aaron Rodgers?
This one's pretty easy. You know, Aaron Rodgers is
Aaron
who we thought
Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers is. I mean, this is not something that just came up this year. Oh, who's this guy? You know, this guy is playing great. This is you talking about the current reigning. You know, since I'm speaking and talking about current reigning MVP of the National Football League. Who is surprised by the reigning MVP winning games? Nobody. He is who we thought he is. It's the Rams. The Rams who got all these free agents. Mr. Odell Beckham, who was such a superstar in Cleveland that he had to leave there because he wasn't good enough for Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield wasn't good enough for him. And then you got Von Miller, who left the Denver Broncos, thinking, oh, I just woke up and I'm on a better team. But guess what? Since the trade, the Denver Broncos are undefeated, and the LA Rams haven't won a game. Let's see what this chemistry is all about, because this super team that they're creating, supposedly, it's not working.
Wow. You know, I actually can't argue with him. I can't even argue against him at this point. Like he said, Aaron Rodgers is who we thought he was. At the end of the day, like, that's Aaron Rodgers. That's a bad man. Yeah, we know his toe is hurt, but you know what? We expect when he's out on that field to give 110% and look like Aaron Rodgers, and that's exactly what he did. Like I just said, A.J. Dillon's running the football very well. You got Devontae Adams, who's basically unguardable. I mean, it's like they can't do anything with him. And then when you have somebody like Aaron Jones, and Aaron Jones didn't even play great, but when you get him back in the fold, that's going to be a nice little addition. Randall Cobb looks like the vintage Randall Cobb this past week. This team is clicking on all cylinders, not to mention that defense. They're playing well enough to, neutralize what an offense likes to do, their strengths, as far as what Matthew Stafford likes to throw it down the field. He got a couple of shots, but also they got some picks in that game. So I just look at what the Packers are doing. I'm going to say, the Rams are clearly disappointing me right now. I did pick them to get to the Super Bowl and win the Super Bowl. They've dropped 3 straight to the 49ers. I believe the 49ers, Titans, and Packers. Yeah. And then they lost to the Cardinals earlier this season. So when you look at those 4 losses, that's 4 teams that are great. I mean, really good teams at this point. They are all really good teams, but that's the kind of teams you have to beat in the playoffs. Those are the type of teams you have to beat in the playoffs. And the Tennessee Titans beat them without Derrick Henry. Come on, man. Like, they have to do better. The Rams are making me look real salty. And Q, watch your mouth. I'm watching you in the comment section. Yeah, my boy is struggling, but everybody goes through ups and downs. That's a part of life. But Matthew Stafford will turn it around. This team will turn it around, and they'll get their act together. I truly believe it. But as of today, I have to say, man, I'm very disappointed in what the Rams have done these past 3 weeks.
Yeah, I'm gonna say the Rams also. three straight losses. You add Odell Beckham, you go get Von Miller. Um, I mean, you look at this team; they don't really have any injury reports that we see out there, and this team just can't get it going. Everybody, likes Sean McVay, that new young coach in the game, and obviously they Matthew Stafford thinks this is Detroit. Obviously, you're not in Detroit where you go on 3, 5, 6, 7 game losing streaks, man. This is the LA Rams. There are expectations for this team and this year, and losing three straight games is not gonna cut it, man. So I'm more disappointed with the Rams. I think what Stafford is doing right now, I think he's having the Baker Mayfield syndrome right now. And the case is that he's trying to get Odell Beckham involved. And I just think that Matthew Stafford just got to play his game and go by, what got him off to a great start this season. And the guy that helped him to the great start was Cooper Cup. Cooper Cup has been a monster this year. If we want to talk about fantasy, he's the number one fantasy wide receiver right now. They got to go to him. They're trying to make Odell Beckham like that number one option. Obviously, we can't. The touchdown looked great, but obviously you got to win these games, man. And the Rams schedule, it don't get tough. I know they play against Jacksonville. They better win this damn game. And the following week they still got to play. The following week they play against the Arizona Cardinals. They got to still deal with the 49ers. Still got the Ravens on their schedule. So it ain't gonna look easy, man. Uh, and the 49ers are only one game behind them. I'm shocked. I'm surprised. Um
Don't do that. Don't get Q all hyped up right now. Oh my God.
there's nothing hyped about when you talk about the Niners. Um all right, so yeah, so that's where I stand when it comes to the LA Rams. I'm just more disappointed in that. All right, let's move on over to our next topic, and we're gonna play a game we normally don't play that much, and this is called Contenders and Pretenders. I'm gonna name some NFL teams, and you guys tell me if they're contenders or they're pretenders. All right, let's start off with the first team. We're going to the AFC, and that is the Buffalo Bills.
Ooh,
Ah! Woo!
contenders, man, contenders. You still got Josh Allen. I mean, they blew out the Saints this week. Good game, good bounce back game. They got some rhythm back. Josh Allen looked like he was his old self again. I gotta say contender.
Yeah, Justin's 1,000% correct. Would it surprise me if
Say
the
that again for
Buffalo?
people in the
He was
back.
right. You're right about this. We're agreeing a lot. I mean, I see that you're following me. You're listening to what I say off air. You're learning. You're learning. You've come a long way. The Buffalo Bills are a team that's going to be dangerous come playoff time. What Josh Allen can do as far as running the football, throwing the football, they have an elite wide receiver in Stephon Diggs. They have a good number two in Emmanuel Sanders, a good slot receiver in Cole Beasley, a good tight end in Dawson Knox. They have I don't want to call it a two-headed monster in the background because it's not a monster. It's guys that can kind of get it done from here and there, but ultimately they have Josh Allen who can run the football. And that's the scary part. I think this defense is optimistic out there. They cause turnovers. They can cause friction for an offense. So I think this team is definitely a contender.
I'm going with pretender in this
Oh
one,
God.
man. When you lose to the Jacksonville Jaguars, you struggle against the Dolphins, even though you beat up against third string players that the Saints had. you're pretenders to me, man. And they better be afraid because New England's coming. They ain't there yet, but they about to be there, and they're gonna be there Monday night. I'm gonna say pretenders. All right, now the next team that I have, I'm gonna stay in the AFC. This team is probably one of the most surprising teams. I kind of had a high ceiling for this team, and that's the Cincinnati Bengals.
Whew. I'm gonna say pretenders. I think this is an up and coming team. You're right. I mean, they're just not there yet. They will be at some point. They have to change the culture. It's not something you can do overnight. I mean, Joe Burrow is playing lights out. Joe Mixon, I mean, may have been the NBS Player of the Week this week in the NFL. I know I voted for him. So they had they had a great week this week. But at the end of the day, they seem to find a way to trip up whenever they need a big win. They did sweep the Pittsburgh Steelers this year, which is a big deal in changing the culture. That's one step, but I don't think they're ready yet. So I must say pretender.
Dang, this is tough, man. This one is tough because I think I see what Justin's saying. I'm gonna say contender. Not because it would surprise me if they got to the Super Bowl. Yes and no in a sense, because I think that they have weapons everywhere. They literally, go back to Buffalo, what I just said about Buffalo. You talk about Jamar Chase, who's probably going to win Rookie of the Year, in my opinion. Mac Jones obviously can definitely win it as well. That's a tight race between those two. I know Najee Harris started off really high, but to me, he's kind of cooled off recently. But it's out of Mac Jones and Jamar Chase. Just if Mac Jones keeps it up, obviously he's going to win it. But I think that I don't know if I can believe in them quite yet. I know we never said their names yet. But Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Joe Burrow, Joe Mixon, the way he's playing football right now, that way the defense is playing right now, I'm gonna say contender. I think it's a long shot, but I think that I can see them getting to the Super Bowl. So I'm gonna say yes, contender. Yeah, I know you don't like that, Justin. Shout out to LSU, man. LSU stand up. Stop playing with us.
I'm gonna say contender also.
Wow.
I was high on this team, but I didn't expect them to be this good. They're only one game behind the Baltimore Ravens in the division right now. Um, the way Joe Mixon's been running the ball, Joe Burrow coming off a major injury, I might have this guy for comeback player of the year. I think it's be him and Dak. But this team looks really good, man. Very young with Chase, T. Higgins, Mixon running the ball. I think they got a very underrated defense, and they're flying under the radar. So I'm gonna say contender. All right. The next team we got the San Francisco 49ers.
Where's
Contenders
you
are pretenders.
What else, you? Go ahead.
I'm gonna say they're contenders.
Wow.
This team is really playing well. Their defense is playing lights out. They find a way to win. Whether they have to throw the ball, with Deebo Samuel, or run the ball, they'll run down your throat. They're playing really good football over there in San Francisco. I mean, they drafted a quarterback in the first round that they're not really using. They haven't needed him. Garoppolo has been that guy. He's been doing well enough. I mean, he's a proven winner. You may not like him. He may not be flashy for you and a gunslinger or give you those 500-yard games, but he knows how to win games. And throughout his career, he has a great winning percentage as a starter, and he's showing that he can continue that. So San Francisco is really setting himself up for the future greatly. When you have this kind of problem, when you have a quarterback who's winning games and you still got your rookie on the bench. So I'm gonna say they're contenders.
Okay. I actually agree with Justin. I know Q likes that. Q, look, I'm giving y'all flowers right now. the 49ers are definitely a contender. The way that they're playing some football right now, I would be scared to play them. They're very dangerous right now. They're playing with a lot of confidence. They believe that they're the better team than you. And we have to look at it like this. People forget the 49ers were in the Super Bowl just 2 years ago. Mm-hmm. Last year, Deebo Samuel was hurt. George Kittle was hurt. Jimmy G was hurt. I wrote some. Nick Bosa was hurt. Mostert stays hurt. They kind of like moved on from him now. But at the end of the day, they dealt with a lot of injuries last year. They're healthy this year. They're getting healthy this year. I know Deebo got banged up in the last game, but if he's playing, he's such an X factor where he can line up in the backfield. He can line up in the slot. He can line up on the outside. He can line up at quarterback. He's a wild card for them. And then, of course, that defense, man. And that running game. I'm not even going to forget the running game. This team is really dangerous. I like how physical they are. And if you're going to beat them, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. You're going to have to out-physical them. So I'm going to say definitely a contender, and it would not surprise me if they got to the Super Bowl. At the beginning of the year, I didn't believe that was going to happen, but I was wrong. Give them their flowers right now. Shout out to Q, man. CQ, I'm not biased.
I'm gonna say Pretenders.
Oh, come on.
He's being a certified hater today.
No, I'm not, man. I'm not sold by the 49ers. I don't see them as a contender in the NFC, man. If you want to compare to the teams with the likes of the Green Bays, the Tampa Bays, the Dallas Cowboys, I just don't see that as them as a contender. I don't even think they're the best team in the division. Despite with the LA Rams being on a 3-game losing streak, I think if you're telling me they played in the playoffs right now, somebody's audio,
Justin, that Texas audio.
But I just think if the Niners and Rams end up playing in the playoffs, I clearly got the Rams. The Niners did dominate them earlier a couple weeks ago. But I just think that if they do end up playing again, I think it will be completely different. So I got them as pretenders. All right, so let's go to a team that's been on the Power 5 rankings for the entire season, and that is the Arizona Cardinals.
I think that's a pretty easy one. Like, if everyone has them in your top 5, why would you not consider them a contender? I don't get this question at all.
Call him out. Call him out.
What I want to know are the Dallas Cowboys contenders or pretenders? We need to talk about that.
Actually, I asked you a question. So just answer it.
Okay, contenders. You're next.
Okay. I agree with Justin. They're definitely a contender. I don't think people's paying enough attention to James Conner. This dude is playing some good football. Despite Kyler Murray out, they only lost 1 game without Kyler Murray. So we're not going to sit here and act like, this team has not been holding it down since Kyler Murray's been out. no Kyler Murray, no DeAndre Hopkins, no Chase Edmonds. And this team still finds ways. Even A.J. Green missed some time. This team, when all healthy, this is a dangerous team. Offensively, they can score with anybody. They can run the football. They can throw the football. Kyler Murray's definitely an X factor. This defense, they can get to the quarterback. I like the Cardinals. I'm not saying they're going to win the Super Bowl, but I am saying it's not going to be an easy out for anybody. Nobody wants to draw them fully healthy. I can say that.
I got them as pretenders.
Oh God.
Okay, so see, are you drunk tonight? because
No,
you put them as your number 2 team in the whole NFL, but yet they're pretenders.
that right now the way they're playing in the regular season, they're ranked as a high team. If you're asking me if they're a Super Bowl contender team, hell no, they're not a Super Bowl contender team. I'll take Tampa Bay over them. I'll take Green Bay over them. I'll take the LA Rams
But you
over them.
didn't.
No, I would. I
Oh,
would take them. We're talking about if teams that have a chance to that could contend for the Super Bowl. I don't think the Arizona would. If you're telling me Tampa Bay goes against Arizona, nobody's gonna pick Arizona to win that game. If Arizona wins against Green Bay in the playoffs, Green Bay would be a high favorite. If Arizona win against the Rams will be a high favorite. That's what I'm trying to say. I don't think they're contenders. I'm not sold. They
So
got
don't put them in your top 5 then.
we're talking about regular season, man. In the regular season, based off of what we've seen from 11 weeks of football, they've been playing the best football. But do I have them as a contender to go to the Super Bowl? Hell no, I don't have them as a contender to go to the football because we haven't seen them do that in the postseason. We haven't seen Arizona do that in the postseason. The last time we seen that was when damn Kurt Warner was on the damn field. And that's
that's a
and that's what
fact.
I'm
That's a
saying, man.
fact. That's a
They got
fact.
a young team and a young coach, man. When it comes to playoff time, it's a different season, and
Hey,
that's
So,
why I
so
don't
with
have
the number 1
Arizona.
seed right now, they get a bye, which means they're automatically top 4 in the playoffs. They only got to win 2 games to make it to Super Bowl. And they're not a
I
contender.
put it like this: the Utah Jazz was a top 1-2 seed, but
that's a fact.
were they a contender? Did I have them a contender? Hell no. That doesn't mean they're a damn contender just because they're at a top seed.
They don't get
Okay,
buys in the NBA.
let me ask you this though, Keo. And I'm not opposed to what you're saying, like in a sense. Here's where I have an issue. You're contradicting yourself. And I'm gonna tell you why. Not that you're wrong as far as the Cardinals, but you just said that they haven't shown us anything to say that they're gonna be a Super Bowl contender. But you just said the Cincinnati Bengals are. How? What have they shown us? They haven't done anything to show us in the
Based
postseason.
based
Where's
based
my
the
popcorn?
here's how, because based off of what we see in the AFC right now, it's not wide open. It's like it's pretty much open in the in the AFC. Like Kansas City is not a for sure thing. Like the AFC is completely wide open to me. That's why I have the Cincinnati Bengals. With the NFC, there's a couple teams out there
That
that
are
we're gonna
notches
have in
above, you
there,
feel like.
and I just don't think that. I just think that there's a tier of teams, and I don't think Arizona is like a top tier team in the NFC based off of what we see on the record. You could do great in the regular season, but can you do that in the postseason? And I don't think they can.
Okay. Okay. Time will tell. Time will tell, buddy.
Oh yeah, it definitely will. All right. So okay, so the last team, man. Since Justin liked to bring it up, we're gonna go with the Dallas Cowboys.
The Dallas Cowboys are pretenders.
Wow.
They will do this to you. Keo, I love you, brother. You're a great friend. But as a Dallas Cowboy fan, you have to feel it every year. Every year you get your hopes up. This is our year. We're gonna win it this year. And every year you get disappointed. Every year they find a way to disappoint you. This year's no different. No, it's not. It's no different. They're gonna find a way, whether it be injury, which they've been very injury prone this year. You got Cooper missing a lot of games. You got Zeke, who's banged up, where they're talking about him possibly missing games to heal his knee. And you got Dak, which is he's been kind of banged up lately. They're gonna find a way to break your heart. There are some things that are guaranteed in life, and the Dallas Cowboys breaking your heart is one of them. So go ahead and get ready for it. Do what you got to do. Write
Look his
poems,
face.
or
Look his face.
go ahead and pre-order your flowers that you're gonna need. Get the handkerchiefs ready because they're gonna be some crying at the end of this season. And I'll be
Man.
there for you, brother. My phone is always here. It's always on. You can call me anytime when you want to cry on the shoulder because your Dallas Cowboys have disappointed you once more.
Okay. Oh, man, how do I feel about the Cowboys and a contender? Oh, man. I'm going to say a pretender too, bro. I have to. History tells me this. I don't like the way Zeke's running the football right now. Contrary to what I see from James Conner, I know that we said with James Conner. James Conner doesn't touch the ball, I don't think, as much. I could be wrong about that. We can check the stats. I think he has more touchdowns than Zeke. I could be wrong about that, but just off of memory alone, I believe that James Conner is having a better season as far as less touches and more touchdowns than Zeke. No Kyler Murray, yet they're winning football games. I just look at this team and I say to myself, like Justin said, Amari Cooper, he's been out for the last 2 games. CeeDee Lamb's missed some time. I just don't know how to feel about him. When the chips are down, do I trust them to get to the Super Bowl and be a true contender? I can't say that I do. They can prove me wrong. They have the talent to do it. As far as on paper, for sure a contender. But what I've seen with my own 2 eyes, I got to say pretender.
Man, I'm gonna say this with a lot of guts and conviction. The Dallas Cowboys are clearly contenders, man. I got them at the top of the list. They're a top tier team, man.
I'll save this
Um,
shoulder for you.
uh,
This one right here.
hold on, let me finish. I'm not even done yet. I'm not even close to done. The Dallas Cowboys are clearly a top tier team. The great move getting Dan Quinn. The defense has been a very good defense this year that people are afraid of this year. Before what we've seen happen on Thanksgiving, which was atrocious. I got the Cowboys as contenders, man, and I think this year is different. I think this year is our year. I could feel it, man. I know this year is our year. I definitely got the Cowboys as the contenders. They're walking past by the NFC East, and in their mind is like, uh, uh, when is the playoffs gonna start? Because nobody in the NFC East is coming close to us right now. And I know
Not
their
true.
last, and I know yeah, who? The Eagles? You got to
No,
be kidding
the
me.
Washington football team.
There we
Yeah,
go.
right.
The team I picked to win the division, by the way.
Please. I think it's a little bit too late for them, and I don't think they're gonna catch the Dallas
Well, if you're
Cowboys.
saying they're gonna lose this week, it's just one game closer because you have the
Facts.
Cowboys.
They could
Facts.
lose the game, but that doesn't mean the Washington football team is gonna win their football game.
So what you're telling me is that a team that's going to lose to a terrible New Orleans Saints team
No, the
is
Saints
a
are not
contender?
terrible. The Saints are not terrible. The Saints are a playoff team. They're not terrible.
They're not a playoff team.
Yeah, they are. They are a playoff team. The Saints
Currently,
will be
no,
in
they're
the.
not.
Yeah, they are. They're a playoff team.
Yeah, I
They're a
guess he
playoff
doesn't
caliber
care
team.
about things like facts.
What facts are that Saints are a playoff team, man?
Currently, are they a playoff team? Currently, today.
Currently, if the season's if it ended today, they wouldn't be in the playoffs. But are they a playoff team? Yes, they are. They are a playoff team.
And
Can
we're
they
the
get?
Saints
Can
fans
they?
here, people out
Can
there.
Yeah.
We're
yeah?
done,
And
Justin.
what?
We're the
And what's
Saints.
your point? Just because you're a Saints fan, that doesn't mean you know as much as I do. Please, man, cut that out, man.
Hey, I'm just simply saying you're making.
And I'm saying
no
the
sense
Saints
of
are
it.
a playoff team, man. That's what you could have mentioned the Saints when you had the chance to talk, but obviously you keep cutting me off. And like I said, the Saints are a playoff team. The Dallas Cowboys are a contender. They already won the NFC East. You might as well crown them. Washington don't
Wow.
have a chance. Washington don't have a chance. The Philadelphia Eagles obviously don't have a chance. The
Hey,
New York Giants don't have a chance.
hey, I tell you what, look, and I'll be honest, shout out to my main man, Keel, y'all. He is the brains behind the operation when it comes to all our graphic work. If the Cowboys do not win this division, I will pull this file. I will personally learn how to edit videos, and I'm going to bring that right back. What you just said, it's already over. They already won a division. You are setting yourself up for failure,
That's
man.
not failure, man. They got no chance of catching up, man. Just because Washington won 1, 2 games, man. What, they beat the Carolina Panthers? You jumping on them? Obviously, you picked them. You picked them to win the division earlier in the prediction. Justin, I don't want to hear it from you because you predicted the Cowboys to win the division. So what are we talking about? Really? End of discussion. So let's go on to our very next topic, man. And we are gonna be picking our game of the week, which headlines the Monday night game between the Patriots versus the Bills for the AFC East division lead.
Ooh, this is gonna be a good game. This really is gonna be a good game. You got both teams. I mean, the Bills need a win. I know they beat the Saints this week. It was a big win to bounce back after they lost 3 or 4 straight. Um, but New England's hot, so I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go with the desperate team. I'm gonna go with the Buffalo Bills because they're the desperate team right now.
Desperate. Desperate. They just smoked the Saints. Smoked them in New Orleans on Thanksgiving. I don't want to hear nothing. They smoked the team that was, when they played them, was in the playoffs. They beat them and knocked them out.
Trevor Siemian. Trevor Siemian.
Listen to me. What's going to happen this week? I'll say this first. If the Patriots win, I will put them in my Power 5 rankings. No questions asked. I will see it next week. It's not going to happen. The Buffalo Bills, nobody circles the wagon like the Buffalo Bills. I am not only saying the Buffalo Bills will win this game, I am guaranteeing it live on this show right now.
Come on.
There is no way in hell the New England Patriots are going to Buffalo, New York, and knocking off the Buffalo Bills. Josh Allen is right now, he's foaming at the mouth. He wants some of this Patriots team. He is going to put his foot on their neck and say, this is no longer your division, buddy. This is my division. I got Buffalo winning this game, and they're going to make a statement in this game. They're going to win this game by at least double digits. I got the Buffalo Bills.
Come on, man. Come on.
Guaranteed.
Come on.
I believe the Bill Belichick and the Patriots already have made a statement during their winning streak, man. And you have Josh Allen, but you're dealing with Bill Belichick, man. One thing that's so genius about Bill Belichick, one of the best coaches of all time, man, he's gonna eliminate your top weapon. And once he does, he's gonna make somebody else try to beat you with it. And the Patriots defense, they are no joke. They you act like this defense can't go against those Buffalo wide receivers, man. And I just don't believe Buffalo can run the ball like that, man. When you guys got like guys like Zach Moss and Devin Singletary, their name speaks for itself. So I'm definitely taking the New England Patriots to win this game.
Hey, Keel, I want to say first of all, foremost, shout out to my main man, Keel. I do owe him some Starbucks. I would double or nothing on this game. I would double or nothing on this game that the Patriots will lose to Buffalo. If I win, I don't owe you anything. You don't owe me anything. If I lose, I'll double it. I'll get you 2 Starbucks drinks of your liking.
I don't know, man. All right, let's go to college football, man, and let's start off with our winners and losers from college football.
I mean, this one's pretty simple. I mean, the biggest loser this week is Ohio State. You know, when you lose to Michigan that way, I mean, they were in the playoffs and now they're no longer. Um, that's it's they had a really great game the week before and demolishing Michigan State. People, including myself, thought they should be in top two, if not the number one spot. I thought that they were up there with Georgia with that kind of blowout win over a top five team. Um, but then to go and lose to Jim Harbaugh and the Michigan Wolverines, I mean, that it's all bad for Ohio State. They went from possibly being one of the favorites to win a national championship to now seeing what bowl game they're going to get. So it really is sad that they're the biggest losers of the week, and of course the biggest winner is Jim Harbaugh and the Michigan Wolverines. Um, and I would also say, as a consolation prize, I would say the Auburn Tigers is a big loser. They had a chance to really do something against Alabama. They blew that game. That game should have been won by Auburn. If that running back didn't go out of bounds and cost 45 seconds, we could be having a whole different discussion here with Alabama not even being in the playoffs. So that is a huge opportunity lost by Auburn, and something that they could have hung their hat on, but it didn't happen. Alabama did their magic, did their thing, came back, won the game in many overtimes. So my two biggest losers, the Auburn Tigers and the Ohio State Buckeyes.
See, I figured that all you guys would do that. I figured y'all would talk about Ohio State, Michigan, which I'm not opposed to. I think that's actually a great point by both of you. I feel that's what Keel was going to go. And I want to say shout out to Keel again. He did pick Michigan. Shout out to Antonio, big Michigan fan. Me and Justin was like, Ohio State's going to win that game. I think the weather played a big factor in that game as far as the physicality. Michigan definitely out-physicaled them. I think one of their coaches came out and said that Ohio State's basically soft. They're a finesse team, and Michigan proved that this past week. So shout out to them. But for me, my biggest loser by far, and I know it's going to sound crazy because Ohio State was in the playoffs. I'm going to Oklahoma Sooners. Here's why.
I knew you were going to say that.
Here's why. Oklahoma, I wrote this down. They lost to their arch nemesis, Oklahoma State, when they had a chance to get back into the playoff race and get to the Big 12 championship and possibly get into the playoffs if things fell right. I know some things had to fall, but it could have happened. But not only did they lose to the Oklahoma State Cowboys, they lost their coach, Lincoln Riley. They're going to probably lose both of their quarterbacks because I'm hearing Williams is going to go to USC. He's going to enter the transport portal. Spencer Rattler already entered the transport portal. It is falling down in Norman, Oklahoma. You're talking about a team that is a perennial playoff team year in and year out. And they might lose both their quarterbacks and their head coach, and you just lost your opportunity to possibly get back in the race to get into the playoffs right now. Who's their quarterback next year?
And one more thing. And they start in the SEC.
Yes. It's not looking good for Oklahoma right now. I will say we bought a Pete Carroll. I don't know. Would he be willing to leave Seattle and go to Oklahoma? I don't know. But right now, today, if I'm an Oklahoma Sooner fan, I'm looking around. I'm kind of like Will Smith on Fresh Prince when they were getting out the house. I'm looking around where everybody's going. Everybody's leaving us. Oklahoma to me is the biggest loser because not only are they going to be affected for this year, but in the future. This is a hard pill to swallow. So I'm going to go to Oklahoma. My biggest winner clearly is Michigan. Come on, we're not going to do that. I agree with them on that. Michigan is the biggest winner. But I will say shout out to Oklahoma State. I feel like Oklahoma State won that game, and they didn't play great. They beat Oklahoma, and they didn't even play great. Spencer Sanders threw 2 interceptions. Wasn't a big passing day for them. They didn't run the ball particularly great. Their defense showed up when they needed it to happen. But shout out to Oklahoma State. They may get in the playoffs. It's a long shot. It could happen though. They win the Big 12, but ultimately Michigan, man. Michigan, they have one obstacle in front of them: Iowa. If they get past that, they're in the playoffs. You can cancel it. It's over with. Michigan. Jim Harbaugh has changed the perception around him. He saved his job. This could change everything for Michigan. So I'm going to say Michigan is the biggest winner.
Yeah. My winner, I'm going with Oklahoma State as my winner. For the last decade, they just never could get over the hump against their rivals, against Oklahoma, and they finally do. Not only that, they have a shot to get into playoffs. And I think, I don't think Cincinnati should rest easy, especially with everything going on, because you talk about the Power Five conference from the Big 12, and the committee is going to give Oklahoma State a lot of consideration. They knocking out Oklahoma, they could knock out Baylor too. And I think this could be very huge for Oklahoma State, and I think it could be really interesting because if Cincinnati struggles against Houston, I think the committee will look into that. So I definitely got Oklahoma State as my winners, and as my losers goes, I'm going with Alabama, even though they did win. They barely escaped against Auburn. Michigan jumped ahead of them. um I think the new college football playoffs came out, and they got Georgia at 1, Michigan at 2, Bama at 3, Cincinnati at 4, Oklahoma State's hanging around at 5, and followed by Notre Dame. So I just think Alabama is in trouble. They got to deal with Georgia also this week in championship week that we're going to pick in a bit. And they get jumped over them, and they got quite a scare against Auburn in 4 overtimes. So I'm going to say Alabama is my losers. All right.
Wow. Even in a win. Okay.
Yeah.
I will say
Okay.
this. I know we're going to talk about something. I just want to say this. Cincinnati, you better be Georgia's biggest fan this week. I'm going to tell you right now, if Alabama upsets Georgia, man, a lot of Cincinnati fans might be mad because I think Georgia's in no matter what.
Well,
If Alabama wins that game, they're going to get in.
well, I'll get to that in a bit. I wouldn't consider it as an upset, though.
No, not an upset. I think Cincinnati can be left out if Alabama wins that game versus Georgia.
Okay. All right, so let's go to our next topic. One of the hottest topics in sports, the coaching carousel. Man, and it was one hell of a carousel. We have um Lincoln Riley going to USC. He leaves Oklahoma. We got Brian Kelly leaving Notre Dame, and they go to LSU. So USC's my team, LSU's your guys' teams.
Hold 1 second while I do a wardrobe change.
Oh!
Oh my god! Hey, I like that slow motion, man. That was dope, man. I like that. You planned that out, didn't you? You was like, oh man, I can't wait until they talk about this topic so I can do that. All right. So the coaching carousel, two huge coaching carousels. You know, Virginia Tech also found them a new coach. Also, so did Florida. But the huge one is Brian Kelly and Lincoln Riley. So with these two going to their new teams, man, which coach has the most pressure on them moving forward?
Man, this was easy for me. LSU and Brian Kelly. Because the fact of the matter is, honestly, I mean, I was pulling for Lincoln Riley to come to LSU before this hire of Brian Kelly. I had no idea Brian Kelly was even available. But I was pulling for Lincoln Riley to come to LSU. him going to USC is a no-brainer for him. Like, I honestly think that was the right decision for him. He's getting out of a team that is about to go to the SEC, and is gonna, if he couldn't win a national championship being a leader in a small conference in the Big 12. I mean, I know they're a Power 5 conference, but at the end of the day, it was an Oklahoma Texas conference. If he couldn't win a national championship there, he's definitely not winning a national championship in the SEC. He's going to USC. He'll be able to recruit in Southern Cal easily. It's a great job. He's getting paid great. If you looked at the contract, I mean, they're buying his house and everything. It was a no-brainer for him to go there. But this Brian Kelly thing is a little head scratcher because we just talked about it a while ago about Cincinnati that may not being in it. Notre Dame has a possibility to be in the playoffs this year. They could be in the playoffs, and they won't have a coach to coach them. And one of his main complaints is that he doesn't think that he can win a national championship with the Notre Dame, sports director and such, because of not being able to get the players he wants. But he's there now. He could possibly win right now, and he left that. He left that to go to a team that's in the SEC that you got to compete with Nick Saban every single season. You got to compete with the Floridas, the Georgias, the Alabamas, the Texas A&Ms every single season, when he had one of the most prestigious jobs in the nation at Notre Dame. So that is people don't leave Notre Dame. People can get fired from Notre Dame, but if you win there, you don't leave. So, like, for him to leave Notre Dame to go to LSU is, I mean, I'm happy because I think we got a really good coach. Because I was looking at some of the candidates they were talking about, and bozos like Lane Kiffin. I was like, oh hell no!
Wow.
So I was really getting worried. And when they announced that they got Brian Kelly, I was actually satisfied. I was happy with that signing. But I think that as far as pressure goes, Lincoln Riley doesn't have pressure.
I agree.
USC, they have, first of all, they have not been performing for the last, since probably Matt Leonard and Reggie Bush was there. It was the last time they were competing for a national championship. And the fact of the matter is they only have to compete with who? Oregon, Washington. Come on. It's not hard to win the Pac-12, the Pac-10. I mean, so I think that'll be easy for him to do. I think he'll be winning that pretty regularly, if not in the top of it. But I think it's going to be a lot harder for Brian Kelly to do that at LSU. So he has the biggest obstacle to go. But I mean, the last three coaches that coached LSU have won national championships at LSU.
Facts.
So he's coming. He does come with a lot of expectations. You don't want to be that guy who has a resume of being the winningest head coach in the nation, but yet you're that fourth guy who couldn't win a national championship when people like Coach O's win national championship. You don't want to be that guy. You gotta win, or LSU will get rid of you quick. We just saw Coach O got fired after 2 years of winning a national championship, and he's out the door. They don't put up with not winning national championships to the LSU. You got to win, and you got to win now. So he has the biggest obstacle and the most pressure.
Absolutely, man. I mean, literally, I can't even believe this right now. Me and Justin have agreed on everything for the most part tonight, outside of the Patriots being a Power 5 team. Outside of that, I think we've agreed on pretty much everything. I agree with him wholeheartedly right here. It's clearly LSU. Lincoln Riley has time to build in USC. They're not going to fire him after 2 years, even if they struggle. They're going to say, okay, let's see what he gets. Let's see the recruits he takes in. Right out the gate, Brian Kelly better do something. It's going to be unacceptable to lose at LSU. I'm telling you, I go to LSU. I currently go to LSU. I live in the state of Louisiana. This state, it bleeds LSU. Like, if you ask most people, whether you're living in the north, you're living in the south of Louisiana, everybody seems to be an LSU fan, man. Brian Kelly. This is somewhat of a head scratcher. I'm like you, Justin. I don't know quite how I feel. I'm happy about it because I'm happy we didn't get Lane Kiffin. Shout out to Lane Kiffin, but this wasn't my guy. But Brian Kelly, we both know. We're old enough to know this. Notre Dame? You left Notre Dame? That's a prestigious, historically great school. Notre Dame is top 5 in wins of all time when it comes to any college football program. And he's the most winningest coach in Notre Dame history. The only thing I can think of in my mind, I'm saying to myself, okay, Notre Dame won a lot way back in the day. They're kind of like the Cowboys. Keel can relate to that. I'm just messing with you, Keel. But, no, I'm serious. But, okay, but nonetheless, at the end of the day, what I thought about was, okay, Notre Dame is a Catholic school. And I'm not sitting here saying that that's a bad thing. I think it's a great thing. I'll be the first one to tell y'all. But I don't think they're getting the recruits. They're not getting the top guys like a Alabama, like a LSU, like a Clemson, like a Georgia. They're not number one in recruiting year in and year out. I think a lot of kids nowadays, they don't remember how good Notre Dame was back then. It's unfortunate. Notre Dame's number 6 in the country, and nobody's talking about him. Brian Kelly's leaving the number 6 team in the country that has a chance to possibly go to the playoffs, but nobody's taking them serious. Nobody thinks Notre Dame is going to win the national championship. If they get in the playoffs by some weird metric, at the end of the day, nobody on this panel, I don't believe, and nobody outside of South Bend is going to pick the Notre Dame Fighting Irish to win the college football playoff, just because of what we see in the past. They've showed a lack of physicality when it comes to playing the SEC schools. They lost to Cincinnati this year. I just don't think that Brian Kelly looked at that situation and ever thought he was going to win a national championship at Notre Dame. So he looked at what LSU has, and he said to himself, man, they get 5-star athletes everywhere. They can compete as far as physicality. I can go recruit Louisiana, Texas area, the South, and get those big old boys to come play for me at LSU. And that's the reason why he left. But I'm kind of shocked. I'm kind of shocked because of Notre Dame's prestigious culture and what they've got done over the years. I'm not going to say I'm super happy about the hire, Justin. I'm on the fence about the hire. I got to see it to believe it first. But we're going to see. We're going to see. He has won a lot of football games. So I know he can coach. But all our kids down here going to buy into his system.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm going with Brian Kelly also. Because you look at Nick Saban, Les Miles, Coach O, all won national championships. Brian Kelly never won a national title at Notre Dame, so going there, expectations are already set right away. LSU fans and people that's connected to that program, expects a title now. I mean, I'm not sure about right away, but they expect the title. True mentioned that he's the winningest coach in Notre Dame history. He did make a playoff appearance twice, I think in 18 and 2020. I think that year when they got when they got blown out by Clemson. Um, and then I think one of the reasons why is, he gets uh more of an access to, the top talents and recruits. With Notre Dame, it was kind of restricted in a way because um because certain requirements to get to Notre Dame. So obviously I think that's one of the reasons also. And and it's LSU, man. I think Brian Kelly, he's looking to take that challenge against, I don't think I think it's a challenge for him seeing Jimbo Fisher in there, guys like Nick Saban in there. He says, "Oh, okay, that's not a problem at all. Let's do that then." And that's what I see from Brian Kelly, man. I think Brian Kelly will bring in the top recruits. Brian Kelly had a top 20 recruiting class every year at Notre Dame. just imagine when he gets easy access to the best talent in the world with LSU. Just imagine how much he could bring in. He's brought in guys and all pro players, guys from Quentin Nelson, McGlinchey. So I think he can do this and make it happen. But I think there is a lot of pressure on him now moving forward. So I'm gonna say the pressure is on Brian Kelly with Lincoln Riley. The team is, they're trying to change that tradition around and bring it back to USC prominence and bring in that good recruiting class back. You've seen Oklahoma, one of the top, I think Justin brought it up to me, one of the top wide receivers to go top recruiting wide receivers. He actually committed to Oklahoma and he actually decommitted out of Oklahoma once Riley left. So I'm pretty sure he may be leaving to go to UFC. Maybe one of those quarterbacks from Oklahoma could be headed to USC also. So I think things is gonna be a little bit different, and it's gonna be good for Lincoln Riley. I don't think next year he'll move them right away to it, but I think it'll take some time. And Brian Kelly, he's gonna be there for 10 years according to his contract. So I'm pretty sure that may take time too, but don't take too much time because LSU fans can't wait for that
Not
much
at
time.
LSU. They won't take 10 years. If you don't win in 2 or 3, you're out.
I will say, there's a kid in Lafayette. He plays for St. Thomas More.
Number one quarterback in the nation.
Before I say that, LSU the last 3 years has been top 5 in recruiting every year. The last 3 seasons. This year they're currently ranked 15. Obviously that can change once they know who their coach. Now they got Brian Kelly. They know what's going to happen moving forward. There were some kids that decommitted. Now they may recommit. Now they see who's the head coach. But Walker Howard. Hey, I'm hearing, and I haven't been to an STM game, but I'm hearing from guys that I know personally that says he's the truth. So we're gonna see, man. We're gonna see. They're gonna definitely quarterbacks are gonna want to go play for Brian Kelly.
All right, so let's go to our very last topic for tonight, and that's the game of the week. It is championship week. We'll have the picks up later this week, but the game of the week for championship week, it's Alabama, it's Georgia. Playoff implications on the line. Who you guys got?
I got Georgia. I think Georgia's defense is too great.
Bryce Young? What?
What?
Oh, come on, man.
The runaway? The runaway? Give us a score.
Oh, I'm gonna go 27-21.
Okay. You know what? I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it just because I want controversy. I think that everybody's disrespecting Alabama. They're forgetting that that's Alabama still. I'm gonna take the tie, even though I know everything my eyes tell me Georgia's gonna win this game. I'm gonna go against the grain on this one. Alabama's still Alabama, people. We're not gonna sit here. Yes, they struggled against Auburn. Yes, they struggled against LSU, teams that they should have maybe blew out. But this is still Alabama we're talking about. I think that they find a way to get this one done in an extremely close game. I'm going with the Tide, man, to win this game 24-21 in a great defensive game.
I'm taking Alabama.
Wow.
I don't know what the hell people's talking about. Surprise, upset. I clearly got Alabama. Alabama's been owning Georgia. Saban's been owning Kirby Smart. I'm taking Alabama clearly in this one, man. I just don't think when it comes down to it, do not think that Georgia could throw the ball. And this is going to be the best defense that Georgia has faced all year. And, that's the same thing that you could say about Alabama. But I think when it comes to Alabama, they could throw the ball. They got weapons around them. They could run the ball. I think I think it was just one of those games that they ran into, man. And I think I trust Bryce Young more than any of the quarterbacks that they deal with down in Georgia, and I just think they're gonna struggle, man. I just feel like that with Georgia, they rely on that running game so much. If they can't run the ball, it's could be huge trouble for them, and that's why I feel like Alabama will win this game, and I don't think this is gonna be a close game, man. I think I think Alabama's gonna win this very convincingly. And I think people is gonna be surprised the Alabama that we see in this game. So I'm taking Alabama.
Okay. Okay.
All right. With that being said, let's wrap it up. I don't know where Justin went, but let's go to our shout outs.
Okay, shout out to my main man, Keo, man. We don't ever agree, but it's all love nonetheless. I don't know what he was talking about. Fix your face first and foremost. Shout out to the chat. Shout out to Just Justin. He finally learning, what I've been trying to tell him when it comes to sports. Just listen to Sports Junkie, man. I got him. I got you, Jay. Same thing with you, Keo. Shout out to Bill Napier, man. UL, man. He raised the bar at UL, man. We're going to try to keep it pushing. I'm rocking the gear right now, even though I go to LSU. I'm from Lafayette, man. Always going to love UL. Always going to love my city, man. So shout out to UL, the whole Raging Cajun community, man. UL culture. No, act like you know, man. Respect the culture, Keo. You was on the campus. You know what it's like. You know what it is. You know the vibes. You know the gators. You see the alligators in the water. Come on, man. This different. It's different vibes over here. This is the UL culture,
the
man.
Cajun dome, man.
What you know about that? Shout out to the Cajuns, man. But with that being said, I want to give another shout out to my baby girl in less than an hour and a half Central Time, man. My princess, my baby girl, my youngest right now, Olivia Trahan turns 6 tomorrow. So from Daddy and the MBS crew, happy birthday, beautiful. We're going to have a good time tomorrow. Even though you got school, we got something planned for you, and it's going to be really, really nice. So I hope that you enjoy it. Time is flying by, but I'm enjoying every single second of it. So I love you, and that's my last shout out. Peace.
Yeah, happy birthday to Olivia. Shout out to Justin. Shout out to X. And shout out to everybody that tunes and supports the show. We will tune into Battle Political tomorrow. Tune into MBS. Let's talk about it tomorrow. But with that being said, man, you guys enjoy it. Have a good week in sports, and we'll see you guys next week.